as a little. Oh, a maximum bad things. Let's lower that a little bit. Interesting. Anyway.
記録を読み返すと、あれは19世紀の終わり、厳しい冬のことだった。事件は霧深い深夜のロンドンの街路をひた走る乗り合い馬車の中で起こった。馬車には被害者と容疑者の両名のみ、複数の人間がその事件を目撃した。一体誰が想像しただろうか、この単純極まりない事件があのような恐ろしい結末を迎えることになろうとは。我が友シャーロック・ホームズはあの事件を振り返ってこう言った。思えばあの事件こそは序曲だったのかもしれないね。忘れがたきあの日本人留学生と演じた長い競争曲の始まりだ。
すごい。これって本当に駅なのでしょうか。
駅にせよ違うにせよ、これほどの建造物は見たことがございませんね。
蒸気機関車があんなにたくさん。何なんだこの国は。
なんだか夢みたいです。
これが大英帝国の帝都。
どう？あんたたち。
はい。
乗りなよ。どこへだって連れて行ってやるぜ。
それでは官庁街の高等法院へお願いします。
いいとも。あんたたち最近流行りの留学生ってやつかい？そうかい。それなら楽しんでいってくれよな。ようこそ世界の中心、大英帝国の帝都ロンドンへ。
All right. Oh, why is it so loud? All right. Well, we've you can see this was the title screen. I need to lower the audio a bit. A lot. No, too much. Okay. All right. Yeah. So now we're in Britain. Very exciting. What an impressively huge room. How do I put this? The ambience here is incredibly overwhelming. It's almost suffocating. It almost feels like a stronghold. It has been decades since Japan opened its doors to the world. As of late, stone buildings are becoming commonplace in our own country as well, but the awe of seeing the real thing up close is completely different, isn't it? Everything here feels alien compared to the houses made of wood and paper in Japan. There's a... I'm sorry, my audio is annoying me because it's very peaky when it shouldn't be. I'm gonna switch to my other mic, actually.
Okay. Okay, I'll switch it to my other mic because my Yeti's being dumb. Yeah, this game is actually just sold on the Google Play Store, Japanese Google Play Store. You're right about everything feeling alien, but I'm pretty sure there's more to it than just the difference of our country's architecture. But what is this place? We're at the British Empire's High Court of Justice. This is the Lord Chief Justice's office. Lord Chief Justice. I see. Had all gone according to plan, our country's exchange students would have come here to report their arrival today. But Asogi is gone now. Yes. Yes, he is. As such, all that we can do now is play the role of emissaries. 2 emissaries sent to report Kazuma's death, and nothing more. Emissaries, huh? Once these emissaries pass on their message, they must promptly return home. Return home? Just like that? In other words, in order for us to remain in this country, I would have to become the substitute law exchange student, correct? Yes, the exchange student must have the qualifications to be an attorney as well. An attorney, right. No pressure then. In the British Empire, it appears that attorneys are appointed by the Lord Chief Justice himself. Here and now, you must be appointed as such. That is the only chance we have to stay in the Great British Empire. Can I really do this? Ah, my friends, I've kept you waiting. Oh. Your journey across the broad ocean from the Empire of Japan must have been quite arduous. My apologies. It seems I am 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late to our agreed time. Ah, no. There's nothing to apologize about. We both love standing here vacantly, just like the statues. That is good to hear. I am the Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire, Heart Vortex. Wow, the aura he's giving off is incredible. Naruhodo, this is where you stand firm. It is an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Vortex, my lord. I hail from the Empire of Japan. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Master Naruhodo. Welcome to London, capital of England. My country cordially welcomes your arrival. Thank you very much. So, what is your impression of our capital, London? Huh? Well, the cat's got my tongue. I've been so nervous that I can't remember even a single thing. I must say, sir, it's been truly wonderful. Oh? I have seen the city of London whilst riding on the coach from the railway station. Everything has been so overwhelming, so impressive. Words can't describe my awe. That is good to hear. The railways, water, gas, and communication conduits stretching across this city. They're all state-of-the-art technology. No visitor has ever failed to notice their beauty. Yes, indeed. I notice it all. Wow. You really saved me, Susato. I'm glad you're here. Plus, the people of the city are so bright and happy. It's downright infectious. Agreed. London's been booming as of late, as we're currently preparing for the coming World's Fair. World's Fair? Oh, you mean like the Exposition Universelle? Quite. The fruits of all the world's culture and artistry are to be gathered and exhibited here. But you can expect it to eclipse that Parisian trifle. It shall be the greatest World's Fair of all. A World's Fair? This is grander than I could have ever imagined. I'm just in awe. That emotion is perfectly apt to describe all of our great nation's capital, London. He's definitely confident about this. From the oriental land of the rising sun to the great empire on which the sun never sets. It's nothing short of fate that you would journey here. Lord Chief Justice Vortex? Regarding the law exchange student, as I recall, Kazuma Asogi was his name? Huh? Oh, yes sir. Our government has already learned about that incident via telegram. He lost his life on board a steamship en route to the Great British Empire, I am told. I should have guessed that he'd already know about it. My country expresses our deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you very much. But surely you didn't travel all this way just to inform me of his death. We did. We come today as emissaries from the Empire of Japan to report his death. I've heard that your country heavily values politeness. I see that to be true. However, I truly regret to say, since the attorney is dead, we have no other option than to halt the student exchange. Please, wait! What is it that you need, young lady? There is something that Ryunosuke Naruhodo here would like to say regarding this matter. Master Naruhodo? Here it comes. Moment of truth. My lord, would it be possible to find some way to continue the exchange process? Of course, our country desires the very same. However, as long as your country's attorney is absent, nothing can be done about it. Then, what if our country could provide another attorney? What a strange thing to say. Huh? Per the plans, your country should only have sent us a single attorney. An attorney by the name of Kazuma Asogi. That is all that I've heard on the matter. About that, this is bad. I can't allow myself to make any outrageous remarks in front of the Lord Chief Justice. Naruhodo? I could mess everything up if I don't choose my words carefully. What do I do? Our country has another attorney ready, and that attorney is... I'm so tempted to pick a wrong option. Just get the quick game over. But we gotta pick the right one, right? I just can't not pick the right one. Susato? Okay. Of course. What if our Miss Susato here was your replacement attorney? I've never heard an introduction like that before. This lovely young lady here is meant to be our defense attorney? Oh, she's gonna be so mad. We're getting tossed. We're getting tossed. Susato has really devoted herself to her mission. She works so hard to help me in my studies. I can't betray all of her heartfelt efforts. Sorry, I should stop joking around, my lord. I will be the attorney. Ha! You will? I'll be honest, I'm not qualified for the job. Not qualified? And yet you still call yourself an attorney? But I have stood court as an attorney before. It was just once though. And Asogi was helping me. And I was a defendant too. You just need to know that. I studied as much as I could for our arrival in the Great British Empire. On the SS Outclair, I studied this country's law and its trials. The voyage here is about 50 days. That's some light studying, if you can even call it that. If you want to qualify as an attorney in Britain, you would need not only a law degree, but multiple years of practice in an Inn of Court. I know it's far too short of a time to learn everything, but I can't turn tail and run home now. Not like this. Asogi's journey has only just begun. I came to the British Empire to carry on his will. I know I seem like I'm getting in over my head saying this, but I'll take on any evaluation necessary if it means being recognized as an attorney. Please, I just need one chance. I beg of you. 31 seconds, I see. What? That was how long your appeal took, Master Naruhodo. Not too short, nor too long. It was a perfectly moderate appeal. An attorney needs that kind of intuition. Thank you. I'll assess your worth with an evaluation. After all, I always enjoy a good show. Huh? Let's make one thing clear, Master Naruhodo. Sir. You want to carry on Asogi's will. Is that the absolute truth? Yes, that is what I promised to do. I see. I can't help but wonder, why did his expression change like that? Very well. As you wish, I will give you one chance. One evaluation, which decides if you become a specially appointed attorney. Accept or refuse. But, really, sir? So, what would this evaluation consist of? I ask of you, Master Naruhodo, what is an attorney's job? That would be to stand in court and plead your client's case, of course. Exactly. Therefore, why don't we have you do just that? Uh-oh. What? This is perfect timing. Conveniently, there's a trial set to start today. But no one has stepped up to accept the defense, so we've been at a loss. It's going to start today? If you obtain a full acquittal in this trial, you pass. You couldn't find a more simple evaluation, could you? Isn't this like grounds for a mistrial? Oh, I did drop some frames. But we should be okay now. That's true, but could you perhaps divulge some details about this trial? As I recall, it was... Alright. A murder case. This is like 100% grounds for a mistrial. If they have mistrial laws. But that's okay. I guess we get to prove ourselves as an attorney. Murder? Come now. It's a simple case. There's no way you'd lose. And why hasn't anyone stepped up to be the attorney? He says it nonchalantly. However, you should be aware that in the worst case scenario, if your defendant happens to be found guilty, he won't be able to avoid his condemnation. Condemnation? You mean a death penalty? In our great British Empire, murder is punishable by hanging. I do expect the books you read on your journey revealed at least this much. Who would approve of such a dangerous evaluation? That's nothing more than playing games with the defendant's life. I, the Lord Chief Justice, proved it myself. Would you still call it a game, knowing that? What? That's insane! There's no need to overthink it. All you have to do is avoid defeat. My defense will determine the fate of the defendant. And if I fail him, it's death by hanging. Master Naruhodo, you call yourself an attorney. Thus, you must show your resolve. along with your intent to succeed your dearest friend's will, I hope you can show me the strength of your resolve. My resolve? What now? You don't have anything to say? I'm sorry to say this, but there isn't much time until the trial begins. If you're going to do it, you have to commit to it now. What will you do? What are we supposed to say to such a bizarre proposal? Well, we're not the ones that are gonna die, right? So it's fine. It's not like the one other game. I'm not refusing. It's too... We gotta carry on Asogi's will. At any cost. Even though we don't know what it is. Well, I mean, I guess Naruhodo knows what it is, but we don't. We, the viewers, don't. It's no good. I just can't get the words out. 15 seconds. There is an issue with how long you took to make your decision. That is yet another important qualification. Yes. This is just as I had thought. Huh? Ultimately, this is what your gallant resolve amounts to. I withdraw my offer of an evaluation. Thank you for your report. I shall arrange a boarding ticket for tomorrow. You would do well to return to the Far East. I understand. I am grateful for the opportunity you gave me, Lord Chief Justice. Naruhodo. I'm so sorry, Susato. There is no need to apologize. I understand your decision, of course. You do? In these circumstances, your decision of whether you will stand as an attorney or not. For you, Naruhodo, this question has nothing to do with the matter of resolve. What do you mean by that? Are we getting saved by Susato? It's definitely true that I want to be an attorney, no matter what it costs me. But even then, that's no excuse for me to talk about resolve and act as if it justifies risking a defendant's life. That's my opinion on the matter. To the client, their trial means a lot more than some evaluation. I believe that an attorney fights for the client's sake each time they stand in court. But from the client's point of view, their trial is a single crucial battle that will decide their fate. I don't think I'm qualified to handle that battle. Thank you for your time, Lord Chief Justice Vortex. Please excuse us. Lord Chief Justice Vortex. Like, that is such a mouthful. Wait, Master Naruhodo. Yes? What is it? Traveling from here to the Old Baileys typically takes about 20 minutes by coach. If you leave immediately, you should make it there in time. But, just so you're aware, what I told you earlier was no joke. There truly isn't a single soul who is willing to stand at the accused's defense. What? Should this keep up, the court will proceed in the absence of an attorney. Let's see, what is his name? Oh, I got an armband. Heart Vortex. I have an armband now, no more badge. Proof that one is a lawyer from the Empire of Japan. Look at this quality detail. Whose name is that? This is my badge. You can see the attorney's name embroidered here. The name of the armband's owner. Kazuma Sogi. Kazuma seemed to be entirely fixed on this exchange trip to the British Empire. Agreed. The truth that he was searching for must have been here in Britain. But he lost his life before he could ever find that truth. His fervor and his hope still lie within this armband. This is the most anime thing I've ever seen in my life. And if that happens, there can be no doubt whatsoever that there is nothing at the end of that tunnel. but the worst possible conclusion. That's absurd! And yet, its verity is undeniable. How could such a situation be allowed to happen? I suggest that you do not assume that all of your inquiries be provided with a reply. In any case, the only individual with the potential to change the defendant's fate at this point is none other than you. I can say that with utmost certainty. But that's... Now then, may I ask you a question, young miss? Huh? Yes, what is it? Under these new circumstances, should one decide to stand as attorney or else decline? Personally speaking, I believe that choice would be indeed a matter of the individual's resolve. We will have to end our talk here. It's about time for my conference. I must depart in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. And with that, please enjoy yourselves in London to your heart's content. Welcome to London. Become an attorney for a murder trial. He left. The Old Bailey, huh? If we were to go, we ought to depart at once. We just got to London. We got on a stagecoach, and then we were dropped off here, so... Yeah, we got a case because we need to prove ourselves as a lawyer, because officially we are not, like, a lawyer. We're not an attorney. We don't have the qualifications to be one. So this is our test. Susato? If you have a minute, I was just wondering. I'm ready to unleash a Susato toss, you know. I can see that. Naruhodo, even as we speak, the trial's appointed hour draws ever closer. Now is not the time for you to be thrown around by me. I think she means that we should be rushing to the courtroom right now. We can talk once we arrive. Alright. Let's waste more time examining stuff. Oh, I will show her the armband. Actually, I probably won't have another chance. No, there's no time. No time. We gotta go to court. There are still 15 minutes left until the trial. We've managed to make it in time. I had no idea coaches could run so fast. I thought I was gonna bite my tongue off. That reminds me of a line from the stories of Sherlock Holmes. Good coachman, an extra guinea for you if you get us there in 5 minutes. Our coachman may have been offered a similar incentive, considering how fast we were going. Having to pay in exchange for a near-death experience like that doesn't really feel like a fair trade. However, we did arrive before the beginning of the trial, yes? Yeah, you're right. I must say though, this is quite strange. We should have been able to meet with the defendant once we arrived. I have spoken with the bailiffs, but the defendant is nowhere to be found. So this is the Old Bailey's defendant lobby. Is something the matter, Naruhodo? The atmosphere here is so tense. It's no different from our own country's Supreme Court. This feeling is the crushing anxiety of someone who's about to be judged. I can recognize it since I just experienced it myself not too long ago. I am sure it is a feeling of deep hopelessness. Oh my, you two over there. You came all the way here? I could tell you two must have your own fair share of troubles. Huh? Those impassive, almost blank faces bring to the mind the people of the Orient. Two of us came from Japan. Oh, yes, yes, I understand. Well, say no more then. So, how much will it be? Well, we're just... Oh, no, no. I understand fully. I can sympathize with your situation. Oh, the despair of being in a foreign land, with nowhere to eat or sleep, and penniless too. Right. It's true that we haven't really decided on a place to stay, but... That is all right. Anyway, 1,000 guineas. Don't say a word, my friend. Take them. Okay, what? 1,000 guineas? What's the matter, Susato? You were really loud just now. 1,000 guineas would be... That's enough to erect a mansion in the wealthiest neighborhoods of Tokyo. What? This is nothing. Despite appearances, I am prepared for unexpected troubles. I have enough assets in reserve to buy London 2 or perhaps even 3 times over. What kind of unexpected troubles are you imagining? Anyway, we can't simply accept that much money. That was very 3D. I imagine if you played on the 3DS and 3D was enabled, that'd be pretty freaky. Whoa, he just hit me in the face with a coin. Of course, I'm not just handing this money over to you for free. I have just one simple request. Huh? Oh no, honestly, it really is quite embarrassing for me to say this, but you see, my trial is about to begin. Therefore, I have a proposal. I would request that you stand by my side in court as my attorney, yes? Huh? But we... Oh, no, no, no. It will be fine. All I need is for you to just stand there. After all, at this rate, my trial will proceed without the need of an attorney. I should have known. What the Lord Chief Justice said was true after all. Excuse me, do pardon me, but could you possibly be the defendant of this trial? Oh my. Could it be? You do not know of me? Me, the great celebrity of London? Right. You see, we only just arrived in London this morning. Now I see. I suppose that does make sense. Over near Hyde Park, there is a second public park, which I find rather beautiful. A park, sir? Yes. Megundao Park. In spring, lovely flowers bloom, and the birds sing. It was born from my humble donations, you see. What? You mean you funded the park? Capital where smiles never cease. That is my dream. I, Cosne Megundao, will never fail to fight for that ideology. That's amazing. Honestly, you're incredibly admirable. And despite all my generosity, to call me, Cosne Megundao, of all people, a criminal? The almighty London police are but a shadow of their former glory. Don't you agree? He's hyperventilating now. At any rate, Naruhodo, shall we introduce ourselves while the defendant is busy hyperventilating? Let's do that. Mr. Megundal, sir? The truth is, we traveled to this great British Empire, to London, so that we could study the law, as law exchange students. And if you have no attorney, if you like, maybe we could be assisted to you. Well, yes. Haven't we been discussing that very favor? Stand by my side, and you shall receive 1,000 guineas. He says that, but something feels strangely off about this. Oh yes, I understand. Huh? Perhaps this is what you're thinking right now. This fishy Briton won't stop bragging about all of his money. If he has so much money, why doesn't he have a competent defense lawyer? Naturally, this suspicious Briton is, without a doubt, guilty. Isn't that right? Huh? Well, you see... You saw right through me! We'll play along, because this guy isn't taking us seriously. Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Oh my. After all, you're so very rich, but not a single person will bother to help you? Obviously, you must have done it. That's quite the bold accusation you're making there, my good Oriental friend. I'm very sorry. You see, I'm not yet accustomed to English due to a lack of practice. Compliments and insults got mixed up somehow. If you ask me, those insults felt too coherent to simply be considered an accident. I'm really, really sorry. Well, I wouldn't fault you for thinking that anyway. But I must say, I am honestly curious. Why don't you have an attorney yet? It is because of the bringer of death, the Grim Reaper of the Old Bailey. What? The Grim Reaper? Seriously? That is the name the press has given to Lord Barrick von Zeeks, and he is this trial's prosecutor. Does the prosecutor really kill people? For those he prosecutes, they say, the Reaper has come to collect his due. And so, to this day, in the court of the Deathbringer, the number of defendants who have lived is 0. Not a single one. Well, what are you saying? Then, suddenly, no lawyer remained who would be willing to stand up against the Grim Reaper himself. It would be appropriate to call him a legend of the Old Bailey, I'd wager. Lord Barrick von Zeeks. He must be a truly outstanding prosecutor. No, that's not quite right. Perhaps it would be more accurate to say he is cursed instead. Cursed? What exactly does that mean? Defendant, and his attorney as well. It is time for the trial to begin. Make your way to the Crown Court at once. Attorney? They mean me? Oh, time finally approaches. Well now, I will be counting on you. Huh? But I don't even know anything about the case. On top of that, Mr. Magundo, we haven't even finished talking. Until the moment you two arrived, I had been prepared for the worst. Huh? Without an attorney, I knew I would have to defend myself all alone. Dang as your own attorney. But then, you appeared before me. What's more, you are a scholar of law. This cannot be a coincidence. One might even call it fate. I beg of you, please, do not abandon me. Even now, I don't know a single thing about the case or the defendant. I do know one thing. Right now, I can't turn my back and leave this man behind. Naruhodo. He would stand and be judged in court without a weapon to fend for himself. I'm sure Asogi would be the first to jump to his aid. Attorney, what are you doing? If you don't arrive in the Crown Court in time, you will not be allowed into the courtroom. Understood. We will be there immediately. This is where it begins. My first trial in the Great British Empire. Asogi, watch me. Watch just what I can accomplish now. lit. You could, the fire sound effects are so loud. So this is the crown court of the British Empire, the Old Bailey itself. Unlike the courts of Japan, I can feel the weight of this court's history. The melancholy about this room says more than words ever could. No matter where you travel, the feeling never differs when a man's fate hangs in the balance. By the way, Naruhodo, might I ask you something? Yes. What is it? Oh, he's doing the eye thing again. Your eyes are darting all about the room again, just like before. There's not much I can really do about that.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, we declare this court is now in session. The trial of Cosni Megundo will now commence. I ask you, prosecution and defense, have you fully prepared your cases?
Prosecution is ready. He must be the Grim Reaper of the Old Bailey. I can certainly feel a dark aura, as if he really could reap someone's life. Who's a vampire?
You, Japanese attorney, do you have trouble understanding English?
Sorry. I just wasn't focused. I'm being asked if my argument is ready right now, but I'm not exactly in any situation to say that we're ready. I like that expression of yours, Japanese boy. Trepidation, fear, unease. As you desperately stifle those emotions, you cling to your false illusion of courage to face me. It is an expression of recklessness. Quite fitting for one whose fate is already sealed. Ugh. I'm so tense, my limbs are starting to feel numb.
Defendant, Cosni Megundo.
Yes?
You are on trial and suspected of murder. If you are declared guilty, you will be put to death. You'll be leaving such an important trial to a Japanese man. Are you absolutely sure?
I have always believed that we must give opportunity to the young, you see. Even if the young in this case are two exchange students from a tiny eastern nation. I must have the courage to boldly entrust my fate to the weak, without fear. That is precisely what our proud Great British Empire's chivalrous spirit is all about. Oh, that's our Mr. Magundo. Our London celebrity is a truly broad-minded man.
Hey, I heard that man donated £5,000 to the government recently.
Mommy, I want to go play Magundo Park. It appears our good audience supports Mr. Magundo. That does help our case greatly. He really has a way with words, doesn't he? But even then, nobody else would stand alongside him as his defense.
Very well, defendant. You have an admirable outlook. And now, are you all prepared as well? Sensible citizens chosen by the capital city.
Oh yes, I've been long ready to hand out punishments to evil scoundrels. Allow me to dispose of the rubbish, as per my master's orders. Ha! Bad luck for you guys to run into us.
It's okay. It's cold in here.
Oh yes, dearie. Quite prepared. I'm just knitting these mittens for my grandchild. Naruhodo, those people must be the jurors. We don't have this system in Japan. Yes, indeed. In the Great British Empire's courts, a verdict is decided by the judge and these 6 jurors. The judge decides based purely on the law. The jurors decide based on their consensus. Judgment is passed on to the defendant based on these 2 points of view. And how do jurors render a verdict to begin with? Well, I'm sure that will naturally come to light as we proceed through this trial. Nice dodge. Yeah, naturally.
Lord Barrack von Zeeks,
Yes, my lord?
how many years has it been since you cast aside the courtroom, and your prestige with it?
Is the title of Grim Reaper truly worth being called prestige? But alas, I believe it has been 5 years.
And yet, you have returned to stand at the prosecutor's bench once again. Is there something you're anticipating from this trial?
I will leave that to your imagination, my lord. This brooding Grim Reaper fellow cast aside the court for 5 years, returning as a legend. Why? Why did his revival have to be today, of all days? Naruhodo, don't hang your head like that.
The court welcomes your return. Now, I must request your opening statements regarding this case.
Acknowledged. As you all know, this case couldn't be more trivial. As we all know, except for the defense. The incident transpired 3 days ago, at around 10 p.m. The victim is thrice-fired mortar, a bricklayer by trade. Thrice-fired?
A skilled man indeed. I've heard that the bricks he fired have never been broken.
The victim was found dead in an omnibus mid-transit. It is believed that the cause of death is a stab wound from a large knife. Here is the autopsy report from the yard's forensics doctors.
Very well. The court will accept it as evidence.
Alright. Time to figure out what happened. There is one more. I wish to present this evidence as well. Why, this is that color photo? Let's see. Yeah, dude, it's color photo. Let you know the Great British Empire is extremely technologically advanced compared to Japanese because, reasons.
Why, this is... blood! These are stained with blood!
Exactly. When the police arrived at the scene, the defendant was found wearing those very gloves at the time of arrest. What? There was blood on Mr. Maguno's gloves? Oh, we're screwed.
The court will accept these as crucial pieces of evidence.
Seriously? We're being driven into a corner from the very start again. Let's continue. According to the coachman's testimony, when the incident occurred, there were only 2 guests within the coach. Only 2? Clearly, one of them was the deceased bricklayer, Mr. Mortar. And the only other person was the defendant, Cosne Magundo.
Yes, that certainly is rather decisive. Do you have anything to say, defendant?
Yes, of course. I truly have no memory of having done anything of the sort. Mr. Magundo. Indeed, I did ride that omnibus on the night of the murder. Whenever I ride in a coach, I always end up falling asleep.
So you mean to claim that you were sleeping?
The swaying of the coach just puts me at ease, you see. When I opened my eyes, the cold body of a stranger lay before me. It's human nature to try and help someone fall before you, don't you think? So I reached out my hands to him, paying no mind to the blood that would stain my gloves. But that must have been when those gloves were stained. I regret to say this, but the facts that point to this celebrity's guilt do not end there. What? There's still more evidence? When the bricklayer was stabbed by the murder weapon, the moment of his death was seen by multiple witnesses.
Order, order, order in the court.
When the incident transpired, only the victim and defendant were in the coach. Not only that, but when the crime occurred, multiple witnesses were present. This is no longer just decisive. One would call this evidence lethal.
I understand the situation quite well. We should first listen to the witnesses who saw the incident unfold.
As you wish.
Now, bring forth the witnesses.
You may begin, witnesses. State your names and occupations. I am... everyone calls me Beppo, yes. I work as coachman, driving an omnibus in the East End.
Oscar Fairplay. I work as a bank clerk in the city.
Adam Ladyfirst. I'm a milliner. I make hats for men. Milliner. Milliner. First, allow me to verify. At around 10 p.m., 3 days ago, all of you were witnesses to the incident that transpired in the omnibus during transit. Is that correct? Yes.
Indeed.
But of course.
Then we shall move on. I order you to testify. Speak the truth of what you saw during this incident.
What we witnessed. It was the last ship of the night. There were few passengers, so I remember it well.
The defendant and the victim were both sitting within the coach. But then, the defendant suddenly stabbed him in the gut with a knife.
Yes, he was indeed stabbed in the gut. I ended up screaming in shock. Astonished by that scream, I stopped the horses, and then I saw it too.
Truly, a clear testimony.
You are correct. Clear is an apt word. For the incident which unfolded in that omnibus was seen quite clearly by these witnesses. Excuse me. May I say something?
What is it?
It's about this testimony. To be honest, I'm having difficulty wrapping my head around how anything about it is clear.
Whatever do you mean?
This incident occurred within a moving omnibus, correct? Yes, surely that point has been made abundantly clear by now. Then, just how exactly did these two witnesses happen to see the crime unfolding? It's a moving coach. They couldn't possibly have seen what happened inside.
Oh no. Good grief.
I had heard stories claiming the culture of the Oriental Island was quite behind the times, but it is rather incredible for you to be this ignorant of omnibuses running through London. Huh?
I have to ask, Japanese boy. Have you ever boarded an omnibus?
I have not. I mean, after all, we just arrived in London this morning.
Very well.
You would do well to look upon it with your own eyes. The very scene of the incident. What do you mean, sir? The very scene of the incident? A horse-drawn coach is able to move. I suppose you should understand that much, at least. Well, yes. For this trial, we had the omnibus moved into the Old Bailey. What? The omnibus was brought here?
Bailiff, bring in the omnibus.
Well, we don't have to investigate if they just bring the evidence to us. Also, this is very ridiculous. this is the omnibus. I can't believe they brought the omnibus in. The British courts are really something else. Yes. With 2 benches mounted to the top, this coach can transport 8 passengers at most. Yeah. 4 individuals can be seated in the interior. Similarly, there are 4 seats on the roof. London sightseeing is your desire, then ride upon the roof seats of the omnibus. Any child of London would tell you this. Incidentally, with the skylight present on the roof, one may choose to peer into the interior of the coach. From the skylight. Oh. So the truth finally becomes clear to you too. At the time of the incident, these 2 witnesses were seated on the roof seats of the omnibus. It was from there that they witnessed the incident from within the coach. They saw it through the skylight of the omnibus. Do you understand now? So that's what was going on.
Even so, I've never heard of the scene of the crime itself being presented as evidence.
The vestiges of the crime committed within the omnibus are still clear. Thus, it should be presented as evidence. That is the prosecution's official stance.
Very well. Given its present state, we shall accept the scene as evidence.
Shh, shh. Calm down, calm down. I'm playing the game. I can't believe it. The murder scene itself has become evidence. Wow, the Great British Empire. Well, oh, I think my auto-click thing's on. Alright. Let's go reread that line. Happens. Oh, wow, the Great British Empire never fails to impress. Either way, we should take the chance to inspect this omnibus inside and out.
As for you, attorney, I order you to carry out your cross-examination.
Well, let's have the music running before I examine it. As if there is anything to be anticipated from a British cross-examination by a Japanese person. Hey, they let us bring the sword in court. This is my first cross-examination in a British courthouse. It's time to muster up all your resolve, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Okay, take a look-see at our evidences. Evidence, not evidence. The single stab wound to the abdomen. He died of hemorrhagic shock due to internal bleeding. Damn, blood. This really is blood, huh? What an awful thing to be faced with on our first day in London. We've come this far. There's no point in griping now. Hey, I just remembered. Mr. Magundo is right-handed, right? Right. A short while ago, he was toying with a coin in his right hand. Ugh, if only he was left-handed. When your hand is soaked with blood, does it really matter which hand it is? It's a little doubtful. Alright, here's the big one. Oh god. The bottom. Okay, I can't go to the bottom, okay. Oh. Let us tear open the door and charge into the omnibus. Ugh. No matter how enthusiastically you put it, it's still a crime scene. This is awful. It's certainly an interesting way of doing investigations inside the court case. Check what these signs say. It's a poster advertising the World's Fair, which will be held in London in half a year. It depicts the design of the Crystal Tower, the symbol of the World's Fair. The Crystal Tower. Yes, I heard that it is currently under construction. It seems like the whole city is bustling with excitement before the festival. Oh. This blood here would be the victims, wouldn't it? That would make sense. If you look from here, it's visible through the skylight. Why would you ever plan to stab someone in a place like this? The incident occurred in the dead of night. The only light was inside the coach, but I don't think it was possible to see outside. At any rate, it doesn't seem like this crime was very well planned. This skylight is surprisingly large. Easily large enough to witness the entire crime through it, I believe. I can't seem to find a handle. But opening the skylight from the inside of the coach must not be possible. It looks comfy enough, but these seats are deceptively stiff. If two gentlemen were to sit side by side here, that's all that would be able to fit. These English women have such elegant clothing. They would have trouble climbing up to the roof. They'd probably just be sitting here. The Japanese kimono wouldn't be much different. Women must have it rough. This is also the chair. It looks like there's a handle attached to the seat here. It's filled with tools used for omnibus maintenance. A horse feed trough, a blanket, tools for repairing wheels and driving shoe horses. It seems to function as a trunk for the driver to store his equipment. I can't see much space for passengers to place their belongings. Well, it would be a bit troublesome to open and close it constantly throughout the day. Oh, dude. Oh, there's no trunk here. It probably goes out. Oh, the back probably goes out. Let's see if doors has anything. Oh, that goes out. Very well. Let us alight from the coach. I haven't read the other poster yet, so. Alright, let's go in. This is also the world's. I mean, it's different looking. Yeah, it's the same thing. Can I get to the top? Phoenix Wright Omnibus. That is something. It looks like you really can see what's going on inside the coach from the skylight. It seems there was a lamp inside the coach as well. There's no doubt that the witnesses could clearly see the crime. This is bad news. There's a lamp inside? I need to find the lamp. I need to look up. Like headlights and stuff, dude. This is the back. This is the front. You're probably right. Bloodhound Kid Scarlet Study probably did add the Phoenix Wright. Maybe, well, maybe they already said. Maybe in the original Japanese release it said like, whatever Phoenix Wright's name is. Here's the light. It is not clickable. There's only one light on this side? Huh. Okay. Let's press. As I recall, it was around 10 p.m., correct? Yes, yes, just so, yes. It was a deathly freezing cold, yes. Cold night, yes. From what we know, there were 4 passengers. Is there no mistake in that? Yes, yes. They were all picked up from different locations, however, yes. Would we be correct in assuming there were no passengers who got off midway? Yes, yes. It is as you say. No one got off, yes. That means there wasn't anyone who ran from the omnibus after the crime occurred. Yes, well, I'm under orders from the boss to make the final trip every night. Little old me always wondered if there was any point in making that trip, yes. What do you mean? Shivering in that dreadful cold, I earned but 20 pence in carrying out the final trip, you see. All of it would vanish after stopping by just to warm up in a pub on the way home, yes. Alright. Both of them sitting in the coach. Did you see that from the coach's skylight? Yes. When you sit on the roof, the skylight sits right at your feet. There was a lamp inside the coach, which was what allowed me to see inside. So I wonder if, like, if you see in the front, you can't see the skylight without turning around. So I wonder if maybe those guys actually were sitting in the front and not the back. Or only one of them. We'll see. Because both of them were wearing hats, I was unable to make out their faces. They're sitting side by side, huh? Regardless, I have no doubt that one of them was Mr. Magundo. What makes you sure about that? Mr. Magundo is, well, a gentleman of quite a short stature. It would certainly be most difficult for me to mistake him for someone else. And indeed, when the horses were stopped and the coach doors were opened, only the deceased victim and defendant, Cosne Magundo, remained inside. There is no room for argument. Ugh. Alright, defendant suddenly stabbed him with a knife. So you witnessed that very instant? As I had said, all of it was aptly explained in my testimony. Or perhaps you were saying that you have a bone to pick up with my words? With me? A bank clerk? No. That wasn't my intention at all. Oops. He's completely fuming at me. Witness. I would like to hear a bit more about your... Oh, my lord. Juror number 3. What is the matter? I've made up my mind. Now that everyone said their piece, I'm going with my gut here. What do you mean, sir? I've always hated the rich folk, you see. I'm sure those clots are doing shady dealings under the table somehow. That tiny old man is the culprit. Understand? You can't pull the wool over my eyes. That is very elaborate. I don't think there's any point in waiting through this little discussion any longer. Ditto for me. I was just about to say that. We, as jurors, have the duty to pass down correct judgment unto everyone. Who will be the blackened? Well, what on earth just happened? This appears to be the juror's verdict. Their verdict? Already? White means not guilty. Black is guilty. That's, out of context, that sounds really bad. As each juror reaches his or her own conclusion, the weight of their verdict is added to the scale, as you have just seen, and is set aflame. So then, if that colossal scale were to completely tip towards black, let's do our absolute best to prevent that from happening. Ugh. I'm more nervous than ever.
Let all note that the juror's verdict has changed. Now, I would like for the attorney to resume his cross-examination.
You can see the scales here too. It's kind of cool. The power of 3D. Of course, how incredibly frightening. Yes, he was indeed stabbed in the gut. I ended up screaming in shock. You said that you saw the knife. You were looking down from the roof seats, correct? Yes, exactly. I was sitting on one of the roof seats. I recall that the man with the small frame and the victim were sitting beside each other. I was thinking of new hat designs as I gazed at the city buildings, you see. Oh, and then my eyes just happened to look inside the coach from beyond the skylight. And I saw the gleam of a knife as it went inside the victim.
What a terrifying sight.
Oh no. It looks like the jurors' doubts have been spurred on. Everyone seems to be remarkably suspicious of the defendant. We need to find something to refute that suspicion. Otherwise... Witness. Yes?
The knife you saw.
I presume it is none other than this. Yes. It is precisely that. Could that be...
Quite so. This is the same knife that was stabbed into the victim's stomach. It is a rather large knife.
The sheath of this weapon is engraved with an initial. M. It is an initial I have seen elsewhere. Huh? Don't tell me. M. Just like in Magundo. Suffice to say, this self-proclaimed London celebrity would appear to be an utter fool. But this M could belong to countless other individuals. Like, for example, that's right, the victim's name was Mortar. This is far too valuable for a bricklayer in poverty to own. The most likely scenario is that the knife belongs to the defendant.
Yes, that appears to be quite the inescapable reality.
My lord, please excuse my rudeness.
Juror number 2, what is the matter?
As a servant to the gentleman of the great British Empire, I would like to believe he's innocent. However, as a servant, I have a responsibility to accept harsh realities. Wait just a moment, please. We have to dispose of this filth now. No! I must apologize. I love cleanliness, after all. I have recorded the entire conversation thus far, and I have given it a logical appraisal. And at this very moment, I have reached my ultimate conclusion.
Alright, it's up to Grandma.
Not again. 4 people have already chosen guilty. You'd love a maid that loved to clean things? Not a untrue statement. Only 2 more, and then... What in the world should I do? The more I try to fish out from the witnesses, the more the scale slants against my favor. However, As we know nothing about this incident, information is what we need above all else. Then all we can do is watch as that fire burns away our time left until the guilty verdict? A chance to retaliate will arrive eventually. We must believe in that. But... Alright, at any rate, that's all I can do for now. I can't give up here. I just need to calm down and listen to the testimony once more. Oops. When the incident occurred, only the defendant and the victim were at the scene. Furthermore, there are 3 witnesses claiming that they saw the defendant commit the crime. It is a bit difficult for me to say this, but I believe that we are at quite the disadvantage. How am I supposed to tackle this? Is Mr. Magundo really innocent? What if... Anyway, let's just focus on gathering more information first. Above all else, we need to learn more about the incident. Right. I'll just have to listen carefully to the witness's testimony one more time. I missed the last name because I mashed too hard. And then I saw it too. What did you see? What is it? Pardon, but what exactly did you see? Yes, the passenger was, well, collapsed on the coach's floor. Needless to say, that passenger would be the victim, the bricklayer. And then the other passenger took that knife in his hand like this. Needless to say, that passenger would be the defendant, Cosme Magundo. Then, with that knife, I saw him stab into the collapsed passenger like this. He did what? Yo-ho, my lord! My... Juror 5, might you two be... Oh, I forgot about him. I serve as the governing boss of the London Coachmen's Guild. I am able to say that committing murder in a coach is the most unforgivable deed there is. I have to make an appropriate judgment. I plan to continue to observe the trial, but... I've heard more than enough. No one can stop a horse at full gallop. No, we can always try to calm it down with, run, Silverblaze, leap over that pub. I was thinking about that because of the green and the alcohol, which is very stereotypical, but I actually don't know how to make that kind of voice, I think. As the boss of the Coachmen's Guild, I choose to believe in Beppel's words. Ooh, boss. Ugh, boss. With this, the number of guilty verdicts from the jurors stands at 5. She's distracted, thankfully. Madame, would you spare me a moment? Yes, dearie? What is it? I presume you have taken ear to the testimonies of our witnesses so far, yes? Yes, loud and clear. Why then, madame, have you not announced the verdict? You see, around this time of day, I would always be in the nearby park, knitting away. It's a daily routine. Such a small and adorable park. It's called Magundo Park. It was donated to London to bring smiles to everyone's faces. Such a nice man. Would never stab someone. He's right. Mr. Magoon has always been contributing to the good of London. Right. Downright odd for such a man to stab someone. Mommy, let's go back to the Magundo library and read some more picture books. Why is a kid watching a murder trial? Hold on. It would appear that much of London is still blissfully ignorant. Ignorant, that is, of Cosme Magundo's true nature. Well, what do you mean by that? Cosme Magundo, philanthropist, a celebrity with enough wealth to purchase the entirety of London. Begs the question, just how did he obtain all that wealth? To which, he is a salary lender, a rather unsavory one, even among that disreputable profession. What? What? Handing out loans to the weak with outrageous interest rates, then carting off all they own. The foundation of Cosme Magundo's wealth is built upon none other than acts of usury. My, I had no idea. Madame, if you would hear me out, I'm sure you have held at least some form of suspicion. A man with enough wealth to purchase London would, without a doubt, own a personal coach. If that is the case, why should he go out of his way to ride an omnibus? What? You don't mean... The victim was a bricklayer in poverty, and he had incurred a large amount of debt. Needless to say, the lender was the defendant, Cosme Magundo. Furthermore, the incident took place on the night of the loan's repayment date. Really? A poor bricklayer, deprived of his own home. He had not even a single shilling to pay with. And then, a pitiable bricklayer was finally deprived of even his own life. Done in by none other than the heartless and cruel philanthropist, Cosme Magundo. It can't be. Might I interject for a moment? Susato. You claim that the victim owed debt to Mr. Magundo. Do you have any evidence to prove that? Oh, this is probably not good. He's drinking in court? Oh god. Please forgive my impudence in partaking of the Holy Grail within these halls of justice.
There it is. Lord Van Zeek's Holy Grail.
There it is. Is this really something you just let slide? This is an unexpectedly pleasant experience. I had heard that Oriental women were quite bold, but I did not think it quite to this extent. What? The actions I have taken are to be expected of any legal assistant. Regrettably, however, it seems that this boldness was nothing recklessness. This is the self-styled customer ledger of the loans which the defendant gave out. And from what I can see, the victim's name is clearly written here. Amen. For Zeke's, wine is a holy grail to him. Wine is fantastic. I don't know if I can agree with him, but you know, it's his prerogative, right? But that is... I submit to the court this ledger as evidence, along with a plea to forgive my impudence in toasting to the mysteries of the Orient.
In accompaniment to that wonderful toast, I shall accept the evidence.
20? I don't know, actually I don't know how much that is. We know that 1,000 is a lot, but that doesn't really tell us anything.
20 guineas. Yes, that is indeed quite the large loan the victim has taken.
And to satisfy their repayment, Magundo took away everything he had. I guess he had me fooled all along. It is regrettable to say this, but that's just the kind of man he is. It was such a beautiful park, too. What a horrible man. but maybe this is for the best. But please wait. Reconsider a bit more before I shall show no more mercy. Well, we're going back to Japan. The final verdict has just been passed. According to the Great British Empire's Code of Law, should all the jurors return a guilty verdict, trial will be suspended. Sentence will then be passed down by the presiding judge, or it's so written. Sentence, in this case, death penalty. Oh. It seems there's yet more. What else? However, the defense...
The jurors have reached a unanimous vote.
You have my sincerest respect for your prompt and just verdict, the jurors.
As the Great British Empire's Code of Law dictates, the trial shall end now. We shall immediately move on to the verdict. I trust there aren't any objections.
Susato, please tell me just one last thing. Of course. Just now, you were about to say something. It was about the Great British Empire's Code of Law. However, the defense... What comes after that? Oh. Yes. Please wait a moment. Should all the jurors' verdicts point to guilty, the trial will be suspended. The verdict will then be passed down by the presiding judge. However, the defense has the right to present a closing argument to the 6 jurors. Closing argument? Did I hear you say closing argument? That book of law you hold. Tell me, in exactly which era was it written? Huh? Judging from that binding, its origin easily dates back to over 50 years ago. Such a concept is no longer recorded within the current Code of Law. Obsolete legal process, long since culled from our practice of law. The closing argument is now nothing more than a curiosity of our long history. No. Dusato? What exactly is it to begin with? This closing argument. What would I be arguing for, and how? Oh, yes. Please wait a moment. I shall inspect it in detail now. Asserting a right without even understanding its meaning. How very Japanese of you. I see now, Naruhodo. It seems we are allowed to persuade the jurors. Persuading them? Even though the jurors have already chosen verdicts? Yes, and if they change their verdicts as a result, the trial must continue. It says so right here. Changing their verdicts. This could be our very last hope.
It is recorded that lawyers of the past did indeed assert the right to persuade the jurors. However, somewhere along the line, it became nothing more than a formality and vanished.
Why might that be, my lord? Because it was meaningless. Once passed down, a verdict cannot be overturned. In recent years, not a single attorney has asserted that sort of right. However, there is no mention whatsoever of the abolishment of such a system either. What? In other words, even if it has been forgotten, it still has not died. What will you do, Naruhodo? This closing argument is the only remaining opportunity that we have.
Bluff, man. Bluff our way through.
The defense asserts the right to a closing argument. capital of the great British Empire, London, is said to be the heart of the modern world. Hence, this courthouse is expected to hold both the shortest and most well-executed trials. Closing arguments are the most wretched vice to be born of our country's legal system. But a right is a right. As long as it remains law, you cannot deny me that right. The court shall accept the defense's request, and it shall now move on to the closing argument. What utter foolishness. Are you ready, jurors? What? Oh, I wonder. This wasn't written in the juror's handbook I was given after all. I would now like you to all state the basis behind your verdict. Basis? Why is the defendant guilty? State the reason for your judgment. This is so sudden.
I have not heard of such a thing. I ain't cut out for that, sheesh. The jurors are getting flustered. It would seem that the jurors have never experienced this before. Closing argument. A defense no one has attempted before? This just might be a chance we desperately need.
Now then, the court orders you, 6 jurors, state your basis and reasoning behind your guilty verdict. There was no one else inside the coach, so it could only have been him.
4 passengers, earning of 20 pence. Driver's memory is trustworthy. That guy stabbed the guy sitting next to him like this. Not even I would do that. I simply came to the logical conclusion based on every statement spoken thus far.
Fellows in the Coachman's Guild are honest. Our fee is always 4 pence.
I can't believe he stabbed a man who was already on the floor. All 6 members of the jury voting guilty really does put me in a difficult position. There do seem to be a few vague statements in their reasoning, at least. In any case, I'll give it a shot. All I need to do is persuade them, right? I'll do it. I'll strike with all the passion I have and turn the tables on this trial. Excuse me, but wait just a moment, if you will. According to this book, what we must do is a little different. Huh? What do you mean? Isn't melting their cold, icy hearts with my warm, passionate words all I need to... I hate to say this, but... once the jurors' minds are set, they will not lend an ear to the attorney's words. They won't? No man enjoys having his decisions wantonly criticized, after all. The more an attorney attempts to persuade them, the greater the backfire. But that's completely ridiculous. The British law dictates as such, not I. Then what on earth do we do? According to what I have found out, the key to persuading them lies in the jurors' own words. The jurors? All jurors are chosen randomly by the citizens and called forth. That is why, even though they appear to be unified in opinion, they are, in fact, total strangers seated together. So you're saying that that's their weak spot? Exactly. Let's listen to their statements, one by one. And should there be any 2 statements that contradict each other, we have to show that those statements clash. Jurors contradicting statements. Oh, now that I think about it, that's not much different from a usual cross-examination. Yes, you're very right. I need to show how their contradictory statements clash against each other. I just might be able to do it. No, that's not quite right. I have to do it.
Now then, defense.
we shall commence the closing argument. Move to the witness stand and present your argument clearly and precisely.
Yes, my lord. The swordless so ridiculous. No one else inside the coach. It could only been him. I can still press? Indeed, according to the testimony, only the defendant and the victim were in the coach.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean to say. However,
there could be other possibilities that we haven't thoroughly considered.
oh, like what?
Well, how about we all try to think about it together?
You came from a faraway country, so perhaps you do not understand.
It is because we reached a verdict that we no longer have any reason to think together. That's true. They are quick to turn a deaf ear. I guess all I can do now is show how their arguments clash. I'm guessing I don't press. I won't press anyway, so what happens. 4 passengers, 20 pence. So that should be in this book, right? Oh, 20 guineas. Didn't examine this. I imagine that this ledger must hold secrets about all sorts of English gentlemen. I'm not sure if such information should be available to us. Well, it's not like we know any English gentlemen. Other than that great detective, anyway. Could it be? You will not find Sherlock Holmes' name in this book. That aside, let's take a closer look. Names fill the pages, each one listing yet another gentleman of London. Well, we don't really know if they're gentlemen. Not everyone in the Great British Empire is high-born. Well, what's wrong? Look right here! Look at this name! Oscar Fairplay. Who was that again? I can't keep these Western names straight, but it is familiar. That's the name of the gentleman on the witness stand at this very moment.
Oh, the banker you mean?
Why is his name in this book? I see. It's written here that he has an outstanding debt of 20 guineas. It looks like he's due to repay his debt very soon. It may just be a coincidence, but we should take a note of this just in case. Very interesting. Very interesting. You know, they probably didn't have a amazing juror selection back then. Okay. The clash, I have to... Okay, let's see what other people say. Stab the guy sitting next to him. That's probably okay. Logical conclusion based on every statement spoken thus far. How's this relevant? Our fee is always 4 pence. Stab the man who's already on the floor. I know she's told me to find the contradictions in my words, but I have no idea how to go about that. Is that what you were thinking just now? How did you know? I did some research just in case this happened. Shall I read it? It's a tad long. Sure. Give me the tutorial. Then allow me to read it. During a closing argument, 6 jurors will present their claims. At that time, you must boldly touch the clash button. Thereupon, you may compare their remarks. By touching their respective buttons, you may lend an ear to each one. However, the top of the screen shows the person who is making the current claim, and there is no need to select the person who has already voted not guilty. From there, you may compare the statements on the top and bottom of the screen, then touch clash when you find any suspicious contradictions. I see. That was about as long as she warned. First, listen through their 6 claims thoroughly. think it would be good to get a rough idea of two differing statements. Understood. I'll do my best so I don't have to hear that long explanation again. That's the spirit. I want to see if I can press. I want to say no, but... Oh, it's 20 pence for... No, that doesn't add up either. Yeah, because the other guy said 4 pence a passenger. Okay, no math. No math. Math's abandoned the stream. Is the memory of the fare really that important? Because I manage the master's change, I am rather picky about calculation. Is that right? Can't people be understood as creatures to which a single penny means life or death? Is that so? I can't say I've ever heard of that before. Essentially, those that are particular over these kinds of matters are most trustworthy. That is the way we working servants think. The way to begin polishing that bench seems so forced. The driver stated that he witnessed the moment the defendant committed the crime. I believe that statement alone is enough for us to move on and dispose of this filth. Now that I think about it, there was another juror who said something about the fare. Hey, stop backseating, game. We should take the opportunity to confirm it. And if there is, by chance, a contradiction, then all we have to do is let the two clash. Alright, let's check it out. Okay, I want to skip this guy. Skip her. Oops. Go back, go back. You can press. It's just the first guy is very stubborn. The omnibus's fee. I, as the master of the Coachman's Guild, assure that every coach, no matter where you board, always charges the same fee. We must do all we can to oppose the new bicycle craze. All the taxis of London must come together to fight them. Bicycles? In spite of that, an actual murder had to happen in an omnibus. How cruel is that? If our customers leave because of this, then what? The culprit deserves death. Being the guildmaster, his words definitely feel like they have some weight behind them. I trust the words of the guildmasters. Therefore, guild members, therefore I say that the short-statured defendant is guilty. Going back is harder than going forward. 4 passengers. Alright. There is a clear contradiction within these two statements. Contradiction? Pray tell, what is it? Me? A contradiction? What on earth are you talking about? On the name of the Silver Blaze, I swear I know nothing. It's a title song. It's true that according to the testimony so far, on the night of the incident, the crime scene had 4 passengers. Furthermore, according to the driver himself, his earnings were 20 pence. I see the back of the omnibus does say Phoenix, right? Well, thank you for doing your homework for me. Correct. Such is written in my flawless record. On the other hand, Juror 5 said the following. The omnibus's fare is always 4 pence. That's right. Cheap and convenient. One should expect nothing less from a cab. Yet, if that's the case, a rather unnatural contradiction is born. Well, what is it? 4 pence a passenger. 4 passengers. How much would the earnings be then? Oh my. That's 16 pence. Right. The sums don't match up. 4 pence is left over. That's just enough for a single passenger. A single passenger? Therefore, during that night on the omnibus, it was possible that there was one more passenger on board. What in blazes? Could something like that, really? Drivers of the guild are honest men. Trust in the coaches first and foremost. 4 passengers and a mismatched sum. Rather unreliable, isn't it?
What was that?
Guildmaster, if the trial were to end here, unfavorable rumors might spread through the streets of London. Is this also blackmail? Perhaps that the omnibus's driver overlooked a suspicious passenger's escape.
And just how do you suggest that I continue this good-for-nothing trial?
According to this book, you must send aloft the flame of innocence.
Whoa, just wait a minute, won't you? All of our views are finally lined up, but now because of you... Oi, Beppo, show yourself! Ah, how could this happen?
Pardon me, but I must do the same.
What do you think you're doing?
At the end of the day, humans are creatures who may laugh or weep over a single penny. A man with such vague memory on the subject is hardly credible.
What did you say?
I would like to listen to the words of the witnesses just a bit longer.
Yeah, before they picked a verdict, it was red. There was like a bit of motion. I was like, what? Nothing changed.
We did it, Naruhodo. If we can get just 2 more change their verdict, then we can continue the trial. Just 2 more. Come to think of it, there was something else in what they said that bothered me. And our next move should be to snipe at that. And need to reveal another clash between 2 claims, huh? Right. Let's do it.
The vote has changed, but the scale remains tipped towards guilty. Continue, defense. Resume your closing argument.
Okay. Look, the text becomes darker. I want to press this because I want to see what it says. Well, what are you doing? That's dangerous. Please put it away.
What about that dangerous sword hanging from your waist?
No. This sword is more like, well, a soul. Well, either way, I hate rich people. Each one of that lot would gladly stab a bricklayer in the back. No, that can't be right. Are you questioning me? At the very least, that tiny old man is a cruel salary lender, isn't he? Well, that may be true, but...
Wait, Naruhodo. You can't admit to that.
Lender. Pah! He rips money out of the hands of us poor people. Just that much is enough to give him the death penalty.
Now that I think about it, there was another juror making claims about the defendant's so-called crimes. If you notice something, Naruhodo, make certain to look it over. I have to reveal the contradictions between the jurors' words. Anyway, probably touch Clash first. Otherwise, we won't be getting anywhere.
Alright, game. I understand. You want me to just hit Clash. Okay, fine. Oh. It's gonna be the grandma. She said... The other guy... 3 said stab next to him. She said stab on the floor. Let's see what she said. Excuse me? I think it's best if you didn't wave around that crochet hook like that. You heard what the omnibus said just right now, right? He said that the criminal stabbed him just like this. Yes, that's what he testified to. Gundo Park is truly a beautiful place. I always love to sit on its benches and knit. Any person who would donate to a park like that must be a wonderful fellow. At least, that's what I thought. To think, he was a cold-blooded usurer, and on top of that, a brutal butcher. This is bad. I feel there's no doubt in her mind about this. Seems we have quite the prejudiced elderly lady on our hands here. Okay, skip text.
Would you like to hear it, Naruhodo? Do you want to hear the... No! No! Stop! I'm good. Thank you. I'm going to have a tough time if I keep depending on others right from the very start. I'll cut my way through this with my own ability. Is that what you were thinking just now? How did you know? I find that spirit of yours to be quite admirable. I know what I have to do. I'll listen to the words one more time.
These two statements are in complete contradiction. What in blazes? Defense! The court demands an explanation.
But I was only knitting Grandpa's sweater, dearie. What does that even mean? The hell is a contradiction? I saw the defendant stab the victim. That is how the witnesses from earlier testified. By the way, Juror 3. What do you want? Can't you see that I'm busy? What? In what way would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? Ha! Are you trying to test me? Like this, to the guy sitting next to him. That prudish bank clerk said so.
Indeed, Mr. Fairplay testified to that effect.
Now then, Juror 6. What is it, sweetie? How exactly did the defendant stab the victim? Oh, dear me. From what I heard, it was like this, into the fallen bricklayer. That's what the driver said. Hold still, just like that. Please look well upon the way you both are positioned. He stabbed the victim sitting next to him. He stabbed the victim who was already on the floor.
Oh, I see now. The ways the crime was carried out are entirely different.
What? Unbelievable. How could this... This means that the witnesses from earlier may not have been honest in their testimonies. Huh? Why would they lie? That I do not yet know. Oh, we do. However, if the trial ends here, the truth will forever be lost to the darkness. Would you all truly be content with that, highly esteemed jurors? I don't want that to happen. We know one of the people testifying has a reason to want the defendant dead. The great scales.
What it blazes?
I keep changing Juror 5's voice. I don't know what I want to do with it.
Wait. You two, don't listen to him. This Black Cloud attorney, yes, he's using some Eastern black magic.
Called logic. That Eastern black magic would actually be pretty useful right about now.
Oi, black clothes.
Huh? Oh, what is it?
What's so wrong about those two seeing different things?
What?
Consider this. First, the moneylender stabbed the victim next to him, exactly like this thug here. Then, the moneylender stabbed it again when he fell to the floor,
just like the granny is doing. I like how they're both doing the animation.
If you think of it that way, doesn't everything line up? Who are you calling a thug? I'll cut you!
I'll cut you too for calling me a granny. Uh-oh. The jury has gone into an uproar. But I can't help but feel that something wasn't right about that foreman's words just now. Did the witnesses really see two different moments of the crime? There's only one stab wound. One entry wound. My apologies, Foreman.
What, you black devil?
What you've just said is undeniably impossible.
How? How could you say that so confidently? I was just trying to lead everyone down the right path as the jury's foreman. Evidence. Yes, that's it. Do you have evidence? We say that the witnesses saw different moments of the crime. If that's impossible, show your proof.
All I can do is shove it in his face. Get ready for some decisive evidence. Understood.
What?
I'll show you the evidence. It was impossible for the witnesses to see two different moments of the same crime because... I hope it's this. There's an autopsy report in these documents right here. According to this file, the victim was stabbed only once.
What? Only once?
Do you understand now? If the victim was only stabbed once, there should be no discrepancy in what the witnesses saw. Guess I lost this round. Unbelievable. 4 people have voted not guilty. We did it, Naruhodo. We've won a small victory.
What do you think you're doing?
Quiet, old man. I won't stand for any stupid lies.
But we were meant to deliver a verdict as one.
I told you to put a sock in it. I want to know who's lying through their teeth. So if they ever come knocking on my shop, I could shave their head with this slick knife.
Slicking the knife?
I guess Knifey's a barber then. Oh God. Oh God.
In light of this sudden and unbelievable situation, the vote of the jurors has changed as a result of the closing argument. 2 vote guilty and 4 vote not guilty.
No, the banker was Oscar. This guy. He was one of the witnesses. So these 3 are the witnesses. Beppo, the driver, Oscar, the banker, and he's an apprentice mill liner. He makes hats. He's the predecessor to TF2.
2 vote guilty and 4 vote not guilty. Therefore, the court acknowledges the misalignment of the verdict and orders all of you to resume the trial. Now then, defense, prosecution, witnesses, return to your proper places. From this point forth, the court expects further deliberation on the truth of this case. Now, Prosecutor Van Zeeks, please proceed to the testimony at once.
Oh. Wine pouring ASMR right there.
Oh.
It was my desire to enjoy the sweet fragrance of this holy grail in these halls of justice. How impudent of me to shatter it without even taking a sip. I plead for your forgiveness.
But Prosecutor Van Zeeks,
what is with this extremely cold aura? The prosecution has remained silent throughout the closing argument. We have lent our ears as a token of respect to the ancient code of law, as foolish as it is. But it would appear I have vastly overestimated the intelligence of the jurors. Damn, you can't just do that to the jurors, man. I suppose it matters not. The more obvious the truth, the harder it is to convey its validity. This is why our court arranged this meeting, to have the chance to explain the case at length. And now, it is time to draw the curtains on the next duel. I request that the witnesses take the stand once again. witnesses. I presume you have all heard the closing argument just now.
Yes. But of course.
Oh, I heard it, sir.
Witness, as I recall, you are the coachman, Beppo, correct? Yes.
Yes.
If during the testimony earlier, you purposely kept quiet about a fifth passenger at the scene, you will find yourself with a criminal charge. Do take that into consideration.
Ugh.
The court now orders the witnesses to provide a second testimony, namely, testimony regarding the numerous doubts that arose from the closing argument.
There were 4 passengers that night. Truly, but it's just,
At that time, as a passenger, I was told the coach fee was 5 pence, you see.
On top of being scammed, I was forced to see something so horrifying. It's too much to bear.
Mr. Magundo stabbed the victim. What I saw is the unshakable truth.
I do believe that he stabbed him, yes.
So, what exactly does this mean?
The 5th passenger that our Japanese attorney prattles on about never existed. The root of it all is the mischief of that coachman there.
Ugh. Oi, Beppo!
Yes, boss?
The fee that the coachman's guild all agreed upon was supposed to be 4 pence. You pocketed that extra penny, didn't you?
Well, it was cold. It was the last dispatch. There weren't many customers either.
Not very proper coachman conduct, it seems.
Oh, I am sorry.
Beppo, you prat! Thanks to you, our credibility has taken a beating.
But sir, just the week before, I had to pay 10 pence to ride the omnibus.
Bollocks!
10 pence times 4 passengers. 5 pence times 4 passengers. That makes 20 pence. I've calculated 10 times over, but the result refuses to change. Well, yes, they won't. That's math.
It appears that one of the doubts has been clarified. In any case, attorney, the court hereby orders you to begin your cross-examination.
The closing arguments serve no function other than prolonging this trial. I pray that you do your utmost to entertain us. Of course. Four passengers. Probably won't lead to any information, but there are 4 passengers, but the fare you collected was not 4 pence. Is that correct? It's not like the last trip on a cold midwinter's night is gonna make any money anyway. It's far too cold. My horse and I were halfway dropping where we stood. That, sounds pretty rough. Indeed, I should be congratulating myself. Bang up job, Beppo, I would say. I'm sure those feelings were what made me charge that extra penny. Don't act like you were forced to do it. If there really was a 5th person aboard the omnibus last night, then there should have been a chance that he or she was the real killer. At the time, it totaled those 5 pence. Incidentally, you collected 5 pence from everyone on board, correct? I paid 5 pence.
Naturally, I paid 5 pence as well.
I received 5 pence from everyone. Good grief. It would seem that this contradiction of yours was not a contradiction at all. And with that, your supposed phantom killer has vanished into thin air as well. He never even showed up in the first place, though. On top of being scammed, I was forced to see something so horrifying. It's too much to bear. When you say horrifying, you must mean the murder, right? Yes, precisely.
Can't imagine that anyone would want to see another person getting stabbed.
Well, to be honest, I didn't actually, see the moment it happened, per se.
Ah, is that so?
There is another who indeed witnessed the incident, the banker. Mr. Ladypurse didn't actually see the moment the victim was stabbed. I wonder if there's a particular reason why he didn't. He's probably in the front seat. I heard the sound of the banker gasping, and I looked down at the skylight, but by then, all I saw was the knife stabbed in the victim's chest, and of course I saw the blood. Ever since then, whenever I'm having a meal and see a table knife, I can't help but shriek. Alright, what he saw was the unshakable truth. The defendant stabbed the victim in the seat next to him, correct?
Absolutely. Haven't you been listening to me?
This has been bothering me for a little while now. For a second, just before answering, you seemed to hesitate unnaturally.
What's more, weren't there only 2 people sitting inside the omnibus?
At present, we found nothing that indicates that there were any other passengers.
In that case, what's stopping you from handing down your verdict right now?
I've got a bad feeling about Mr. Fairplay's testimony. What could it really mean? I do believe that he stabbed him, yes. No one really knows except for Oscar. Oscar's hard claiming that he saw it, but no one else seems to be very confident that they saw it. Just now, you testified that you witnessed the moment that the victim was stabbed.
Yes.
If I recall, the victim was lying on the floor and stabbed with an underhand grip.
Perhaps.
Perhaps I misunderstood.
What are you saying now?
If I recall correctly, at the time, while driving my omnibus, I heard a scream ring out from the rooftop seats. Ah, that was probably me. Then, when I turned to look, yes, that's when I saw it from the skylight. The victim was on the floor, and the knife was sticking out from the chest. The one holding the knife was the local celebrity over there. Yes, sir. You mean to say that you didn't see the moment the defendant stabbed the victim? Up until now, I was convinced that I saw it happen, but... well, now that I really think about it, it would be far too convenient if I had seen the moment it actually happened. Furthermore, this should go without saying, but by the time I heard the scream, the deed must have already been done.
That's the case. It all speaks for itself. It does.
I wish you had told me that a little bit sooner. According to the autopsy report, the victim was only stabbed once. In other words, the banker witnessed the very moment of the crime. Moments ago, this trial is about to come to a close. Somehow, we've managed to keep hanging on. I need to uncover some new information in this cross-examination, no matter what. However, if you were to just thoughtlessly press these witnesses, you may end up revealing information that could prove to be decisively against our case. But if I let that scare me, we'll end up losing the vital information we need as well. Indeed, you are correct. At any rate, I can't let even the smallest reaction escape my sight. So, if an unusual reaction catches your attention, question them on it with everything you've got. Good. Not that one. Not that one. Oh, it was that one. Oops. Yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5. I gotta not fast forward past the reaction. Oh, you can't. Oh, you can. I'm just bad at holding the button. Alright, this should be getting close to it. Oh, there you go. It would be far too convenient if I had actually seen the moment it happened. If I may, Mr. Fairplay.
I can see through you all. Right now, I bet you all are thinking,
It would be far too convenient for him to have actually seen the very moment it happened, aren't you? Well, be that as it may, Mr. Fairplay is getting pretty worked up. Depending on my answer, I might be able to squeeze new information out of him. He just happened to catch a glimpse of the crime as it was committed. Is that plausible? Let's just say no. It's a nice story, but I don't buy it. That is, not unless you had been peeking through the skylight for the entire trip.
peeking? I'll have you know, I'm a banker from a big city. Why, on my honor as a banker, my memory is crystal clear. My memory of that dreadful scene. If you please, witness. Yes, my lord. Please add what you recall of the scene that you witnessed to your testimony. Alright. Okay, you can count on me. I'll never forget the sight of his hands, both covered in blood after the stabbing. Oh, come on, man. The gloves and... I kind of don't want to press because I have to scroll back through all this, but I want to press because I want to see the text. Covered in blood? Well, maybe covered is a bit of an exaggeration, but... Anyway, his hands are still stained red with blood. And you were able to see that from the omnibus skylight? The skylight was fairly large. Moreover, the light inside that coach was bright enough that I could see clearly. What was that? That's news to me. Something about that doesn't seem right. At a time like this, you should check the court record. Yeah, I'll just go with what I said. Instead of reading the actual line. Both hands were covered in blood, then? Well, maybe covered is a bit of an exaggeration, but... Anyway, his hands were stained red with blood. Both of them, clear as day. I'm sorry, but something seems fishy here. What? These are the gloves which Mr. Magundo was wearing that night. His gloves? These gloves do have dark stains on them. However, as you can see, only the right glove is stained with blood. Ugh. Therefore, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is nothing short of a foul play. I'm uninstalling this game. Gah! This can't be. There's no way. You're lying, young man. Huh? Yep, you made it clear as day.
Mr. Fairplay, if your words were lies, then your entire testimony should be called into question. You said that you saw the moment that the victim was stabbed. Was that really the truth? All men make mistakes. You can't accuse everyone of lying. Indeed, it was just one hand rather than both. Ultimately, the fact that the gloves were bloodstained is unequivocal. However, Mr. Fairplay insisted that he was absolutely sure. It's possible that this witness has been deliberately lying to us.
Why must I, a reputable bank clerk of the city, be forced to go through this? Even though I am an upright, this innocent gentleman with nothing to hide.
Fairplay supposedly has no reason to lie. But is that really the case? Naruhodo, if you could prove that he does have a reason to lie, I believe the direction of this trial would change entirely. Do I have evidence to show that he had reason to forge his testimony? Maybe. My lord.
What is it, attorney?
The defense is ready to present evidence.
Evidence?
This witness has reason to lie in his testimony regarding Mr. Magundo.
Very well. Now, I must order the defense to present their next piece of evidence. What evidence will prove that the eyewitness's testimony may have been a lie?
This is Mr. Magundo's account ledger. In other words, a list of people who suffer because of his usury. Usury. That's usury. Oh. Among the people who suffer is a name that should be familiar to everyone here. Oscar Fairplay.
What in the world? Witness, did you borrow money from the defendant?
Oh. No, I wouldn't go as far as calling it borrowing. You borrowed 20 guineas. That's quite a large sum, isn't it?
Yeah. So what? What's the big deal about it?
If, by any chance, Mr. Magundo was declared guilty, what might happen to that debt of yours?
According to the document, this was a private loan from the defendant. Therefore, if the defendant were to receive the death penalty, the contract would be annulled, and Mr. Fairplay's debt would essentially vanish.
Vanish? Now, Mr. Fairplay, through this false eyewitness testimony of yours, were you trying to make your 20 guinea debt vanish?
Order! Oscar Fairplay. Yes. I will ask you once. Keep in mind that your answer will have tremendous importance. Did you truly witness the very moment the victim was stabbed by the defendant?
This silence tells us all we need to know. Mr. Fairplay, you haven't told us the truth.
Wait, please. Certainly, I may have gone a tiny bit too far.
A tiny bit? Really?
However, at the very least, if there's anything I can claim with confidence, is that I saw blood on that criminal's hands.
But remember, we only found traces of blood on one of his gloves.
Yes, but...
Excuse me. Might I have a moment?
What is it, Mr. Lady First?
Truth is, I have some recollection of seeing that as well. Seeing what? The culprit's hands, stained with blood. And it really was both hands. I think. What?
It appears that we need to request another testimony. Testimony on what these witnesses really saw and what they did not see. Is that agreeable? Yes.
Naruhodo, the tables seem to have turned in this trial. Yeah, you're right. This might finally be the chance for our counterattack.
Both of the culprit's hands were stained with blood. I remember it clearly, I swear.
But I suppose you could say that I did not see the instant the defendant stabbed the victim. I recall both the knife and that stabbed the victim, and the blood on the murderer's hands as well.
I only heard the scream from the roof seats. I didn't see anything. Either way, if there were any other passengers, I think we would have all seen them. Astounding. Witnesses, you didn't see the moment the crime was committed? I am deeply sorry, but Judge, my lord, there was no other passengers in the omnibus, and the culprit's hands were soaked in blood.
I think that's the same as having seen it. No, it's not the same at all. Verify it once more. In the interior of the omnibus, which is still in the court, by the way. As the testimony states, the seat is stained with blood from the moment of the crime. Hence, it can be said that the circumstances overall have not changed in even the slightest.
Now then, attorney, I order you to carry out the cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. Okay, both the culprit's hands were stained with blood. However, as it turns out, that wasn't the case after all. The defendant's own gloves prove as much.
Yes, I understand that. Say what you will, but it doesn't change what I saw. Both hands were stained with blood.
Even in the face of evidence, he's sticking to his story. Yet I'm hesitant to cast it aside as a simple case of him mistaking his own sight. Such a petty dispute. Whether it was one hand or both is trivial. There is only one truly important fact. Right after the crime was committed, the accused's hands were stained with blood. He didn't see the instant the victim was stabbed. Or he didn't see the defendant stab the victim. Don't try to fool the court with such vague wording. You claim that you witnessed the moment of the crime. You should know just how important those words really are.
However, there's no one else I could imagine to be the culprit. So I just offered my opinion to save everyone else's time.
You owe the defendant 20 guineas, isn't that right?
Huh?
Were you trying to frame the defendant so that you could avoid repaying your debt?
That's not at all the case. I only suffered a slightly devastating loss at the Derby, nothing more.
Oh.
Of course, I fully intended to win it all back at the Derby this weekend and pay up.
Oh. You don't say. A slightly devastating loss, I see.
I'm a banker. Simply borrowing a bit for the weekend is no trouble at all.
Please gamble responsibly.
This man has certainly been making quite a few questionable statements.
Let's pretend for now that we were not exposed to this man's dangerous habits. You, the next witness, you shall proceed with your testimony. Is it really alright to just ignore that? I recall both the knife that stabbed the victim and the blood on the murderer's hands as well. You also saw the accused's hands covered in blood? Yes. I know what you're going to say. I'm fully aware that only one of his gloves had blood on it.
Yes, that is indeed correct.
But from what I can remember, when Mr. Magundo was sitting next to the victim, I don't think he was wearing any gloves in the first place. So you're saying that at the time, he wasn't wearing any gloves? Yes, yes. I think that's why I was able to see the blood so clearly. That makes sense. When blood soaks into leather, it gets darker and harder to see. Incidentally, that night, when the accused was apprehended by an officer on the scene, in the dim lamplight, he also failed to note any traces of blood on Mr. Magundal's gloves. But once the coach stopped, no one could tell if there were any traces of blood on his hands.
That's indeed quite curious.
There's definitely something here. I just don't know what it is yet. I only heard the scream, didn't see anything. You didn't see anything? Yep. Yes, sir. You got it. I'm really, truly sorry about earlier. I am. For going so far as to say, you know, that I had seen the moment he was stabbed. Alright, boss?
Just so you know, I had reasons for saying what I said.
But you're not necessarily saying that you didn't see anything at all, correct?
Nope, I didn't see a thing, yep.
That's confusing. No, I mean, for instance, since you were the one driving the omnibus, at the very least, you must have seen the London cityscape while driving. Unless maybe you didn't?
That night, it was cold enough to knock a man right out. Especially me being in a coachman's seat. I'm telling you, my brain nearly froze solid.
One might venture to say, taking the last ride on the omnibus in the middle of winter is not the best idea.
Beppo.
Ah. Okay. We know there's no other passengers. I'm pretty sure there isn't. Like, this dude's the killer, probably. Or it could be a complete twist. It'll be like one of the other two witnesses. Who knows? You both witnessed the incident from the rooftop seating area, right?
Yes, indeed. The seats felt like they were nearly frozen solid.
Yeah, I saw it too. All while shivering from the cold.
If I may ask, why were you gentlemen sitting on the roof in the first place?
Yes, well, you see, we were entirely unable to enter the omnibus. You were unable to enter? Why couldn't you enter the coach?
The coach was locked from the inside. We even knocked and weren't let in.
It was locked?
That's right. An omnibus should be open to all. Whose bright idea was to lock it from the inside?
I had the same problem. When I went to knock, it looked like they were shooing me away from inside. So because of that, we sat on the roof and watched it through the skylight.
In fact, you could say that we were glaring at them.
And that's why we could both say the following with utmost confidence. Had there been another person inside, we absolutely would have seen them. This fact is as clear as day. What's going on with this testimony? They could see everyone inside the coach through the skylight, huh? Oh, gotta commit. Please don't ask you for evidence. Mr. Fairplay, please confirm this for us once more. While aboard this omnibus, both of you witnessed the incident through the skylight while seated on the roof, correct?
Indeed, that is correct.
In that case, it seems there was a place inside the coach where you couldn't have seen the passengers. I don't know where this is going. What? But that can't be. Now, at this time, I might not be able to make this claim with absolute certainty. But when the incident occurred, there's a distinct possibility that there's another person riding inside the omnibus. You can leave your pointless speculation for the Eastern Court's attorney. No matter what, the burden of proof still falls on you. For as you can see, the crime scene sits right over there. Very well. Detective, the court demands an answer. Show us by using this cross-section of the omnibus. Show us where another passenger could have hidden inside the omnibus. Go ahead. It's the right seat. You can fit a person in there. So it's the right, it's the back. The back. I hope. These roof seats are set up facing the same direction the omnibus moves in. Oh, it's actually just the back seat because they're sitting in the back, I guess. I did examine the seat. I examined the trunk. I examined the seat. But at that time, yeah, so if you sit here, you can only see this side. So I guess that's true. So it actually was a seat and not the trunk. But we take those. We take those. And I think the front seat's just for the driver. I think that's probably right. It was like this. Oh. That's right. As you can see, they couldn't have seen the seats that were opposite the victim and culprit. Therefore, that there was another passenger in these seats. Then it would have been possible for the witnesses to overlook them. Yeah. So you are saying that it's only possible that there was another passenger seated inside. It would seem that misdirection is but one of your country's vile practices. Indeed, evidence is absolute in the courts of the Great British Empire. This also applies to your supposed mystery passenger. However, if you are prepared to name this person, then it's a different story.